one of the most captivating looks you can do for any Christmas light display is a trunk and branch wrap style tree. We've chosen this beautiful Japanese maple here, and this is a particularly nice tree to decorate with trunk and branch wrap because it's got some leaves on it, which will tend to glow a little bit of a red color with the lights underneath it. It's also a fairly symmetrical tree, but if you don't have a symmetrical tree, what's really cool about this style is that we can pick and choose certain branches to highlight that make it look symmetrical and beautiful at nighttime. There's 4 pieces of equipment we're going to need for this decoration today. I'm using mini lights, 5mm mini lights that have coaxial watertight plugs. These are my favorite type to use. And we'll need one adapter like this to get the tree going. So this will be placed at the bottom of the tree. Now this tree also has 3, maybe 4 primary branches at the bottom. And so what I'm going to do is use one of these 3 taps at the bottom as well. And this will allow me to start with a male plug of the mini light strings at the bottom of each primary branch. And it saves me from having to backtrack along the branch in order to get it up a nearby one. We also have these splitters available in 5 taps as well, which is a great option if you've got lots of branches to go up. To start off, I'm going to put one of these 3 taps at the bottom, and then I'm going to plug in a bunch of these mini lights, and we'll start to go up each of these branches. And the ladder I'm going to use today is this, we call it an orchard ladder or a tripod ladder. This is my most favorite one to use. It's by a brand called Hasegawa, and it's without question the safest tripod ladder on the market. What's nice about it, it does have an adjustable arm or tripod on the front of it. So if you're working on slopes, it will make it more safe for you. Now, in terms of the number of strings we're going to put in this tree, this comes with a bit of experience. The strings we've got are almost 25 feet long. These ones are at 4-inch spacing, so actually 23 feet long. And I like to use the brown wire as well, just because we're working on brown bark, and so it helps keep the wire a little bit more discreet on the tree as well. Probably do about 20 strings or so, maybe 25. We'll see how things go, and I'll get into how we can get or have the maximum effect for a given amount of strings in the tree. So let's have a closer look. I've got the power hooked up at the bottom here, and I've got my adapter, and I've got a 3 tap because I've got actually 3 primary branches that I'm going to be working with. Notice that I keep my plug just hung a little bit above the ground. This will just reduce any chances of tripping GFIs. It's always good to keep electrical off the ground if you have the ability to. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my strings, and I'm going to start to wrap it around the trunk. And the spacing I'm going to use it depends on the budget of that you have, but I'm going to keep the spacing so that the lights end up roughly about 4 inches apart on the tree. As I get to a split here, I need to start thinking about, okay, which branches I'm going to highlight. When you finish off a branch, you always want to finish off with a fork. Okay, not toothpicks, all right? We don't want toothpicks coming off these trunks. We want forks. So when I get to this part, I'm gonna have a 3-pronged fork. So I'll probably go out this branch right here. I've got another branch in the center, and then maybe another branch on the right. Maybe this one also kind of lower center as well. And that way we get a bit of a fork on the tree. This will give the tree a lot more volume with the lights while using a relatively small amount of lights. Let's go up here. I'm just going to wrap this one, and I'm not wrapping super tight. I'm really just paralleling the branch and then going back down again. What's really important is that the lights stay close to the branch. We don't want them drooping away from it at all. That's the unique thing about this style, is that we have the lights placed nice and close to the branch, and you only need to wrap as much as you need to in order to achieve that effect, okay? So don't worry about wrapping it super tight around the branches, because that just makes taking the lights out again really difficult. And we just want to run the lights parallel along the branch, which will save you a ton of time, but in such a way that the lights aren't able to droop away from it. So what I'm going to do is go up this branch here, and we'll get to the tip. And what I'm doing is I'm not wrapping it super tight, and I'm going to just wrap it parallel to the branch, hook around the top, and now I'm going to run it back down again. And we'll just do a couple more wraps here so that we don't get a bit of a droop. We want to make sure, again, the LEDs stay close to the branch. I'm not wrapping it super tight. Okay, I'm going to now go up another branch. So I'm going to sort of tie it off here so it stays. And now I'm going to run parallel this branch. Again, making sure that there's no droop. If I do find myself where the lights are actually starting to fall away from the branch a little bit, that's a time where it might be worth putting in another wrap. Okay, so that'll hold the light string nice and close to the branch again. And I'm just going to bring it back up. And now we're ready to come back down, get another string. Okay, again, making sure that we're not getting any lights drooping away from the branch. And to make this tree look symmetrical, there's a part of the tree here which doesn't have a lot of branches in the center. So I definitely want to make sure I take advantage of highlighting this one branch right here. So I'm going to bring it down here. Again, this is kind of a big hole in the center of this tree. So in an effort for me to make it look really good, I'm just going to take advantage of this tiny little branch here without wrapping it too tight and weighing it down with lights too much. I'm going to make a little fork here, and then I'm going to bring it back down the branch again. Maybe one other branch over here I could do. Got a little bit of string left over. And it's got a bit of extra string here, so I'm just going to wrap it back up down the center here and finish off here. Okay, so a couple of things to note. You notice here that the lights have drooped a little bit. Okay, they got away on me on the string, so I want to make sure that these are fastened nice and close to the branch. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll untwist a couple of the wires and then stick a bulb through it, and that will hold it in place for me. I'll do the same thing over here. Just untwist the wire a little bit, stick a bulb through it. Okay, and then that will hold the light up nice and close to the branch again. So what's important to know is that I've gone up the branches, not wrapping too tight. Once the branches get quite thin, I'm paralleling the branches. Again, not having to wrap too much because that's going to just take a lot of time, both to install it and uninstall it. I've got the lights all nice and close to the branches, and I haven't taken shortcuts. Like if I went from this branch to this branch, it's very important that I go all the way back down to the base of the branch and then back up the branch again, okay? We don't want to take shortcuts and have lights crossing and hanging in the middle of the air, okay? This style, the lights need to stick as close to the branches as possible. And of course, we're going to finish all our branches off with a fork instead of toothpicks, okay? So just keep that in mind. 3-prong fork is excellent. Avoid the 1-pin toothpicks. All right, so we finished up this tree. We ended up actually only taking about, I think it was a 13 or 14 strings, so not too bad. As you can also see that I've made the lights pretty even from left to right. I didn't go heavy on the left, heavy on the right, or heavy on the top, something that you want to avoid. And I've also finished all the branches with a little bit of a fork so that we get more volume in the tree as well. So this is one branch that I did, and I wrapped up the branch and then I quickly went back down, but I neglected to actually give it a wrap in the middle here. And you can see we've got one droopy string in the middle here. So what I'm going to do is to get it fastened so that the light stays close to the branch, which is important. I just wrap it around the middle. I'll untwist the wire a little bit, and then I'll put the bulb through it. Okay, let the wire twist back up again. And now the lights are now sitting nice and close to the branch. When you pull on the strings, and sometimes the strings can be pulled away from the branches here, as in this case. So what we want is these lights to be, again, alongside the branch. So to make it stick here, we're just going to use a nearby string. I can unwind it a little bit. Bring the string around. Let's try that again. Bring the string around, unwind it. Okay, so all I did was I took some of the string, unwound it, pushed a bulb through it, and now the lights will be anchored so that they stay close to the branch.